Ken Verderani, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Steel Shooter, where we talk about all things and only things Steel Challenge. All right, guys, let's quick couple of housekeeping items before we jump into the topics for today. Number one, please, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Google Analytics, I know you're getting a little tired of hearing this, but still about 60% of those out there who are watching the videos are still not subscribers. Being a subscriber really helps the channel grow. It moves us to the higher up in the search engines, which gets more people to see it, and they may start watching it, and it just helps me to continue to bring out this free content. So if you like the content, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you're already subscribed, thanks for doing that. Hit a like on this particular video, and then of course comment on it. I read every comment and try to answer every comment I get, and share the video with other Steel Challenge shooters that you think might get some benefit out of this. All right, so I know I promised we're going to get back to talking about the remaining 4 stages and shooting strategies and training techniques for them, but I'm going to take another quick break this week, and I promise we'll get back to it next week. But I want to talk about a couple of quick things. Right now I'm in the middle of 4 days of shooting with Ben Stoeger. And for some reason you don't happen to know who Ben Stoeger is, right? He's an 8-time USPSA production national champion, 3-time world champion shooter. I bring him out every year, and we spend 4 days together shooting, and we do some other class work as well. So I want to talk about a couple things that I've learned in the first 2 days here. As you can see, I literally just got off the range about an hour ago, and then I got 2 more days. But first thing I'll tell you is that if you've never taken a course from a top-tier professional shooter, you owe it to yourself to consider doing that. Even if it's someone like Ben, who's a USPSA shooter, and you're a Steel Challenge shooter, I promise you, you will learn so much that is directly applicable to Steel Challenge. It's worth the effort. Particularly his fundamentals class, which is his first 2 days, and then the next 2 days are what he calls his skills and drills class. So what I want to talk about is fundamentals associated with transition techniques, right? Now these transitions are related to USPSA, but it's the identical technique for learning how to transition quickly in Steel Challenge, right? And you've probably heard me talk about this before. I call it the eyes first transition, right? Where you, after you've confirmed that you've hit the target you are shooting at, the very next thing that happens is your eyes transition to the next target and focus on what your next target will be, and then the gun will simply follow directly to that spot. So for those of you who are struggling a little bit with how this technique actually works, let me give you a little bit of an analogy that we used over the last 2 days that really, I think, makes it a little easier to see. So if everybody's familiar with working on a computer and you've got a mouse, right? So if you're looking at your computer screen and you're doing something with your mouse down here in the left-hand corner, right? You've got the cursor on the screen, you've got your hand on the mouse, and you want to now move that cursor to the upper right-hand corner, right? You don't go and look at the mouse and then watch the mouse move around and then move your eyes up to the cursor and get it lined up and stop or go, right? You don't, that's not the way you work, right? Basically, your hand's on the mouse, your eyes are up, looking at the screen, and you're looking at something and now you want it to move. You simply look where you're going, and your hand moves the mouse, and the cursor goes right to where you're looking. There's no looking down on it and trying to figure out where it is and line it up and follow it around, okay? That's the exact same technique that you want to use when you're transitioning between Steel Challenge targets, right? You confirm a hit on the target you're looking at, and then the very next thing you do is your eyes move, and maybe your head if it's a long enough transition, but certainly your eyes to wherever the next target's going to be, and then your gun will simply follow right to that spot. And what's going on here is, right, your brain is using visual cues to figure out what it needs to tell the muscles in your hands and arms and shoulders to do with that gun to get it over to exactly where you're looking at. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to force the gun. You don't have to try to get it there. It literally, if you're looking over here and the gun's pointed this way, right, the gun's going to come right there and stop. And the way you can tell if you're doing this correctly is that literally it appears like the gun is on a string. It moves to the exact spot you're moving, and there's no moving around, there's no hunting for a target. It literally comes to the spot and stops. Just almost like magic, okay? If you're watching somebody shoot and they're transitioning between targets and they seem to, as they move, they seem to hunt for that target and everything settles before they pull the trigger, what's happening more than likely is that they're moving the gun and their head and their eyes simultaneously, and therefore the brain doesn't know what signals to give to your muscles in your arms and your shoulders and your upper body because it's happening simultaneously, so it doesn't know where it's going and thus it doesn't know where it's going to stop. And thus you see that hunting behavior as everything moves at the same time and all the visual information comes in at exactly the same time, and now your brain's trying to figure it all out and tell you, okay, that's the target we want to stop. Oh, let's stop everything and stop there, okay? And that takes a very long period of time to make all that happen. When you do this eyes first transition, like you're moving your mouse and you just go, I want to move the mouse from here to there, and your hand just moves it and it goes to there, your eyes go there and the mouse goes there, you don't have to go look down at it and figure out where it goes. You do that when you're shooting, just you're pointed at a target, right? And then as soon as you're done shooting, again, you transition with your eyes to wherever you want to go next, and as soon as you find that next target and you stop that motion with your eyes or head, you will see the gun immediately moves to that spot and comes right to that spot and stops without anything at all, without any further movement, and you can then pull the trigger almost instantly because you're indexed right on the target. Right, so if you're doing any other kind of transitioning, you literally want to stop, throw that methodology away, and you want to develop this eyes first transition. It is the fastest way to transition. Okay. Other thing I'll mention real quickly is basic marksmanship fundamentals. They're still key in Steel Challenge as they are in USPSA, and that's grip and trigger control. Okay. The other thing we talked a lot about is what kind of focus do you have when shooting? And Ben's a big proponent, so am I, of basically you should be target focused shooting all the time. There really is no need for almost every single target out there, particularly Steel Challenge, to have this wait until you, if you're an iron sight shooter, right, wait for this perfect sight picture with the front sight lined up exactly equal height with the rear, clear front sight, blurry back sight, and then pull the trigger. While that works, it's very, very slow. Right? What you want to do is you want your focus of your vision on the target so that the target is crystal clear at all times, doesn't matter what distance it's at, and that either your gun or your sights are going to be blurry in some form or another. Right? Very close in targets, all you need to do is see the outline of the gun around the white and you should be pulling the trigger. And that doesn't matter whether it's an optic or an iron sight gun. As the target moves out past, say, 10 yards, you want to see basically that the sight is on the target, but the sights are blurry. They don't need to be in perfect focus. And again, you've got perfect focus, clear focus on the target, and that's good enough to be able to hit that target every time. And then even on the most difficult targets we have, right, the 18-yard 10-inch plates on pendulum and the 20-yard 12-inch plates on, say, on accelerator and on speed option. Again, if you're an optic shooter, now you want to see a clear dot. You don't necessarily need to just see a flash of red of the gun. You need to see a clear dot, but that's all you need to see. And then if you're an iron sight shooter, this is the one time where you're going to want to see the sights lined up in the notch and then go ahead and pull the trigger. But for all of the shooting of all of the targets, you don't need to have that crystal clear sights. Your sight picture that's clear is the target, and we call that target focus shooting. If you try to develop that here in the future, you're going to find out you're going to shoot way, way faster and way sooner than you have by always trying to get that perfect target or sight focus before you pull the trigger. All right, guys, we're going to call it this one a little shorter than normal. Been a long 2 days for me, and I got 2 more days of shooting to go. So remember, basic fundamentals, target focus when you're shooting, grip and trigger control. Focus those 3 things when you're working on your fundamentals, and then work on that eyes first transition, and that's going to go a long, long way to really pushing your times down when you're shooting. Okay, guys, also remember, if you're interested in my dry fire training system for Steel Challenge, go to the website, steelshootbanners.com. We have all 8 stages there that you can check out. Also, we have over 40 USPSA training banners, most pattern after Ben's training methodology, so you'll see a lot of familiar things if you're familiar with his books. And then we even have the 3 official GSSF classifier stages if you're a Glock shooter as well. So we got almost 60 different things that you can dry fire practice in banner form to pick from GSSF, USPSA, and Steel Challenge. And that, dry fire, as we always say, is the key to getting better. Other thing is, don't forget my 2 books, Do You Feel the Need for Speed and The Game Within the Game. They're the only 2 books on the market dedicated 100% to the sport of Steel Challenge. And you can find them both, of course, on Amazon Books. And then lastly, of course, as always, remember, slowing down is never the right answer. Never. You need to learn to see fast.